Hey, it's Chie. I'm currently making this Kabocha Pumpkin Shop in Blender that sells everything pumpkin like pastries, jam, seeds, juice, and of course bread. And this other loaf was getting kind of lonely just by itself, so I thought I'd make a new one. I'll be talking over a sped up version of the modeling process that I did and what my thought process was. It won't be a step-by-step tutorial of how to make bread in Blender. Oh, and I also thought it might be fun to add a little bit of color. So at the end, I just briefly go over how I added the colors. I will also link the guide that I watched while I was making the texture as well. I started with the default circle that you can get in Blender just by clicking the circle. So I also put in an empty object in the scene, and then I rotate it 90 degrees and make it the object that the circle is arraying off of. I delete the extra vertices because we don't need those. And the circle is actually just there for reference on what a circle looks like, because when I try to make circles without actual circles, they don't look like circles anymore. I start by, okay, here's the reference. Here's a reference picture that I am going off of. I found this beautiful piece of art online when I looked up round bread, and I thought it had a really neat pattern. So that's what I'm making. They have like a distinct, this pattern of squares in the middle, and then the circular, kind of like a braid looking round part on the outside. I give the square some volume and lift up the little middle bits and fluff them up and then make it round, of course. And I kind of squish them all together so that the center part is separated kind of from the outside part. Later on, I just fill it with its own little star-looking mesh in the middle. So that's detached from the outside. So we got some little cute buns in the middle. Now I start working on the outside swirly parts. One tool that I do want to point out, I use this all the time, the mira tool, but you can get curves that are very smooth, or you can also get straight lines just by typing in 2 instead of any other number that's higher than that. You can adjust the curve, and also you can give it an even width distribution across the vertices as well, so you can get an actual smooth curve. It does work from the perspective that you are looking at it from, so just keep that in mind when you do use it. After I raise that little bit for the outer spiral part, I start thinking a little bit more in terms of 3D and working on the side so that it gets that round look on the outside as well, staying inside that circle that we loaded up in the very beginning. Then from here, it's kind of just fine tuning and tweaking, making sure that it's actually circular and not kind of these like jagged edged kind of circle, but not really. I use this one a lot too, where I'll extrude and then I will kind of rotate it to the closest snapping angle axis. And then I'll do, for this example, it'll be scaling S, Y for the axis of Y, and then 0 for aligning them perfectly horizontally. No one is gonna see the bottom, I think. I have no intentions of the bottom being seen in this particular shop, so I think the bottom being like this is okay. I think it looks fine, even if someone did see it, so I think that's totally fine, right? And then just massage the vertices until they look good. And then the center bit has to be filled in, so I take the vertices that are in the middle, I make it a different object, pop out of the current bread and go to that one, and then kind of make a proper shape and then join it back in with the other one. The rest is just kind of making it so that it looks nice and circular, and then I place it on top of the countertop and adjust the size. It looks realistic, right? Size. This little guy right here is my character reference. So if your object is oriented properly in object mode and it's actually flat on, whatever axis, it's flat, you can actually snap to the surface and rotate it. You can use the snap to face option and snap it with the orientation also adjusted for you. So you don't have to manually look at what angle it's oriented at and then try to match that. It's tedious. And then I just put in an array to make more of them. it was being all sad being the default texture color, so I thought I could put some color onto it. I looked for a video that could give edges and non-edges a different value, and I found this one. I will link it down below. It was very helpful, and then I added some color ramps to it. I originally made it too shiny, so the shine level is a little bit dulled in the final render, but here it is. There we go. I hope that was a helpful video in explaining my thought process of making bread in Blender. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more videos like this, leave a comment below, and if you saw anything that was interesting in the shop, if you want to see those made, or any ideas would be great too. Leave those down below, and see you in the next one.